has had a thrilling fortnight in Austria. The Austrian Grand Prix, the opening round of a very quirky and delayed 2020 Formula 1 season for the 70th year, got off to an amazing start. We thought behind closed doors with no fans it wouldn't be as entertaining. It was anything but that. And then a week later in Styria, of course, the second race in Austria at the Red Bull Ring was so-so, but it was just nice to get Formula 1 back. And Valtteri Bottas leaves here with the maximum points, finishing first and then second in round 1 and 2. A good start in Austria, especially with, of course, what's going on. Formula 1 is definitely moving forward and moving in the right direction. And with all that hype, we head into round 3 and the second track to be used this season, which is the 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix, ran in Budapest at the Hungaroring. It will be an absolutely incredible race. Now, of course, it has been an incredible track used. Normally follows the British or the German Grand Prix on normal Formula 1 calendars. It has been a great track for Lewis Hamilton, the home and ground for the reigning world champion. I always think of Lewis Hamilton when we come here. He's had some great wins here in McLaren. 2012 was a standout one as well. And then getting his only victory in 2013, his first victory with the new Mercedes team, he got it right here at this circuit. It's a hard one to drive. It's an entertaining. It's thrown up some great controversy, some great battles in the past. Last year we saw a great thrilling battle all race long between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Max, of course, being on track to win another race, yet another great start in the first part of his 2019 season, but just pipped at the line a few laps before the actual finish by Lewis Hamilton, of course, plagued with engine problems and not enough power that the actual Mercedes engine has for that race. But it's going to be a great one. And again, as we said, behind closed doors, of course, no change there. It will be, hopefully, as thrilling as Austria was. Even Styria, I think probably some people might take that, but we do hope for an entertaining race. Now, of course, this is a 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix preview, and as always, we are going to kick off this Grand Prix preview with a lap on board with Renault driver Daniel Ricciardo. He takes around the Hungaroring on the F1 2020 video game. Gameplay footage is provided by Dan from F1E Reviews. So again, like always, and of course, like you did on Austria and Styria preview, thank you so much for that. And without further ado, let's take you around an onboard lap of the Hungaroring with Daniel Ricciardo on F1 2020. Enjoy. And here we go, guys, a lap on board with Daniel Ricciardo in the RS20, the Renault Sport car for this season. We are heading to the Hungaroring, the second track and the third round of the 2020 Formula 1 season. Now you've got to watch your braking zone right just around the 50-metre board, clipping the apex. You've got to make sure that the car is straight coming out of here, crossing over on the DRS board. Now again, you'll get this during the race and in qualifying. A downhill corner now, the braking zone feels like it can go on forever, just keeping away from the curb, straightening up to take this corner. Now you head uphill, and this is the biggest corner, I would say, of a challenge on the circuit. It's a blind apex, getting the corner right. Sometimes you might have to lift, not even touching the brake. Of course, in the wet is very tricky. This corner now is gradual. You've got to stay off the curb, straightening the car here for this one. This is a right-left chicane, very hard with the curves being elevated. Make sure that you stay off them, they can really disrupt the car. A right-left now, a very tight chicane. You've got to watch and stay on the racing line, as Daniel looks like he's doing there. Again, if you go all 4 tracks off, you might be taken out 4 track limits and have your time deleted, which we saw in Austria a few times. But it looks like he's managing to do this now, heading into the penultimate corner of this lap. We're looking like we're good in the final corner again, staying off the curbs, heading into the corner where the entry of the pit lane is. Now again, getting close to the wall of the pit lane, straightening the car up as we get onto the home finish straight over the second DRS board, and there is a lap of Daniel Ricciardo in the RS20 at the Hungaroring, round 3 in the second track of the 2020 F1 season. Footage provided by Dan from F1E Reviews.
So what is being said in the news heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix? Not a lot, if I'm being totally honest, but I will get a little kind of story, an FP1 out and yet again out of the way first before I kind of go into, I would say, the main talking point heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix. Robert Kubica is going to be making another appearance in FP1 with the Alfa Romeo team. Of course, he's their reserve driver. A lot of people are actually questioning as to why he's in the car again, for the second weekend in a row, essentially. And I think that's down to his main, or one of his sponsors, Orlen, who who was there during his Williams days, and now he's there with Alfa Romeo. He's the title sponsor. All N are the title sponsor of the team. They must have some sort of like contract obligation somewhere where Robert Kubica's got to do a set amount of practice programs or practice laps. Or whatever. So it is good to see Robert Kubica back, and of course he'll be making another appearance. I think he's the only guy who is going to be making a different appearance in practice. I think Jack Aitken, he had his showing for Williams, but I think George Russell and Latifi will be staying in the car for FP1. So I would say the biggest talking point, a lot of people are really, it's rumbled on from one Grand Prix into another one. Now, despite, of course, as we know, Renault have lodged a protest against Racing Point about the design of their car. The FIA are looking into it, and hopefully we might have some sort of answer as to what the actual outcome is, hopefully in the next few days, but maybe next few days or even next few weeks, depending on how true or how much the FIA need to know, because apparently Racing Point have said, well, we've been working close with the FIA over this. We've told them everything, we've showed them everything, and Mercedes, they're working with them and showing that nothing has been transferred. But Renault don't believe it. So that's going to be a story heading into this Grand Prix weekend, and possibly after that as well. What's going on with that? Well, from what I know, Renault did, like I said, lodge a protest. That's still ongoing, and worst case scenario, maybe $100 million fine for the Racing Point team, like what McLaren got back in the day, if data has been transferred. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see with that. I think realistically, I think it is all Renault just trying to do something to stop Racing Point from taking over, essentially, because they're now ahead of Renault, and Renault aren't exactly happy with that. So we'll have to see what happens. And of course, in the press conference, I think it's when this video goes live, I think it would have happened by now. But Cyril Abiteboul and Otmar Zafnauer are going to be in the press conference together. So fireworks, here we come. That's going to be really, really juicy as well. And something else that's really, really juicy is Ferrari. Cherry red. Cherries are very juicy, but it's far from juicy at Ferrari at this moment in time. They did bring forward some upgrades that was due in Hungary to the Styrian Grand Prix, which went very, very well, didn't it? No cars were hurt in the making of testing those parts out. We lie. Both cars came together, unfortunately. Charles Leclerc claimed responsibility, and Ferrari weren't able to test their parts out. So they're coming into the Hungarian Grand Prix in the same mindset as they would if they didn't bring any new parts to the Styrian Grand Prix. So Ferrari are still in the dark once again at a track that should normally suit their car. They did very well here in 2017. They took a 1-2 between Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen. And Ferrari have had a good, history over here in the past few years, because Ferrari, they've always had a good chassis car. However, this year, I don't think that's going to be the case. So expect some problems as well. And expect a lot of aero upgrades bringing into this particular weekend. Maybe some, new winglets on the front wing, the rear wing, the bodywork. The Hungaroring, it is a chassis circuit where cars... Really, engine power is not really essential, which is why back in the day when I was a McLaren Honda fan, and McLaren, with Honda and stuff going through that rough patch, Hungary was always a good track to watch and get some good results, because we didn't need the rubbish Honda power back in the day. So expect teams who, aren't really clued up with their chassis, engine power, will have a good chassis for that race weekend. So, moving on to race predictions. Now, before I jump into making my predictions, of course, we are running our prediction league as always. Rules about everything and how to enter will be in the description below. But basically, just comment below your top 3, who will get fastest lap, and of course, you will get, some points. And again, like I said, in the description below, we'll explain how you will get those points. We did very well, actually, in the last round. I think 4 or 5 people got 9 points out of a possible 10. So very, very well done to you guys who, of course, did. You guys know who you are. And, of course, we post a weekly, weekly, after every round, we post a league table as to how you guys are doing, who's where in the league standing. I think Uzer is top purely because he's predicted first or before everybody else more times than not. So, yeah, if you want to enter, then, like I said, description below will let you know how. So, my top 3 for this weekend. So, I'm going to go with third place. Sergio Perez. The first time I'm gambling and banking on Racing Point doing very well. One of the main reasons is because of they've got the Mercedes last year's chassis. Last year, the Mercedes cars did very well here. Despite having overheating problems and cooling problems and stuff, like that's what buggered them a lot last season, they still did quite well. Verstappen, of course, he got pole position. He drove a brilliant Grand Prix. Lewis, he pitted, went on them soft tyres and just chased after Max and got him at the end, which proves the chassis does very well at that track. And again, they did well here in 2018 when the cars won there as well. So I'm expecting good things from Racing Point. They have been showing some really, really good showing. Commiserations for Perez not finishing in P4 at the last Grand Prix, colliding with Alexander Albon. Albon, stop hitting Mercedes cars. Like, what's the problem with it? He hit Hamilton in Brazil, he hit Hamilton in Austria, and then he hits Sergio Perez in Styria. Again, maybe not Albon's fault, but you know what I mean. It's always Albon involved. So Albon, keep it well away from those Mercedes cars. But no, Perez, you know, he drove superbly. The car, he didn't have the pace of qualifying, in a wet qualifying. He couldn't get the temperature into his tyres. Came into the race, P18 or 17. Brilliant Grand Prix. So, and of course, he's a brilliant driver as well. You know, he finished in P6. Could have been P4, but hey, front wing damage. But nevertheless, I think he'll do well this weekend. I'm expecting good things from Racing Point. Perez, with his ability, with his raw speed, and the fact that the car is that good, I truly believe Racing Point can get onto the podium this weekend. In second place, I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton, the race winner from the Styrian Grand Prix last time out. And again, Hamilton holds the records for the most wins at this particular track. He won here last year after an absolutely dominant display. I think it's going to be a close call between himself and, again, the other guy that I'll mention, who I think will be my race winner. Because, you know, Lewis Hamilton, he's on a charge again. He's trying to battle down, you know, chase down Valtteri Bottas, who's got like a 6 or 7 point lead over his teammate at the moment. So Hamilton's still got some work to do after having a bad showing at the first race. And like I said before, Hamilton, you know how good he is at responding when he has a very bad race, whether that's his fault or whether that's the car's fault. And again, he's on a surge. He's on a comeback fight at the moment. And I think he'll do pretty well. But I think the guy that could just edge him is, of course, Max Verstappen to win this weekend. Verstappen, of course, he had that breakdown in Austria race 1. He did okay in race 2. He was a bit off the pace compared to the Mercedes boys. He did have damage, but he still drove a very, very good Grand Prix to be able to keep up with the guys. It was a shame that Albon wasn't there to help him out in terms of strategy. Red Bull were just left to... They were like sitting ducks, essentially. There was nothing they could have done. 2 against 1, it just doesn't work. And a driver like Verstappen, even himself couldn't fend them off on his own. So maybe... I'm expecting some good things from Red Bull this weekend. Like I said, it's the chassis circuit. Red Bull always do well here. Ricciardo, of course, he won his second Grand Prix here in 2014, and Red Bull have had some good showing. And like I said last time out, Verstappen got his first and only pole position here at this track at the Hungaroring. So I'm expecting good things from Max Verstappen, and again, he wants to kind of redeem himself after losing some ground in the past 2 Grand Prix. He wants to put up a fight to the Mercedes boys and showed, hey guys, I am here, I'm Max Verstappen, I am going to be challenging for this title, and trying to claw as much back on the Mercedes boys as he possibly can. And he drove a brilliant race as well last time out in Styria. I mean, that overtake as well around the outside of turn 6, sorry. Beautiful stuff. Give that guy a world championship winning car. Hey, he will do things. He'll do absolute bits. But that is my top 3 for this weekend. Sergio Perez for P3, Lewis Hamilton for P2, and Max Verstappen, I think, will be this week's race winner. Fastest lap, I hear you ask. Let's go with Valtteri Bottas. I think Bottas could be off the pace at some point, and maybe he could, not doing as well and just having one of them off days. I think, again, like a lot of teams will do, like a lot of teams tried at the last race, Carlos Sainz, of course, he was the one who did it, pit in towards the end, get on them soft tyres, go out the last 5 laps, let's say, and go for the fastest lap. So, or do I go with McLaren have got all fastest laps, so do I go with them again? Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to say Valtteri Bottas. I'm going to say Carlos Sainz again. McLaren, they've got some good speed in that car. They really, really do. Qualifying pace, it's really good. Race pace, not so much. So I'm going to change my mind, and I think, again, they'll do the exact same what they did. They'll be there or thereabouts, pit in about, lap, whatever, towards the end, 5 laps to go. Carlos Sainz or even Lando Norris, depending on who's where at the time, go out and set the fastest lap of the race. So, like I said, top 3 for me. Perez, Hamilton, Verstappen, fastest lap. I'm going to go with Carlos Sainz. And if Bottas, you do get the fastest lap, there's going to be consequences, my friend, because you've just cost me a point. But nevertheless, so that's my top 3. Like I said, comment below your top 3 to enter in our prediction league. And again, fastest lap for that extra point. So, Lyle, that's my top 3. What's your top 3 you're going to be submitting for this week's Hungarian Grand Prix?
So my top 3 for the Hungarian Grand Prix, well, again, in Styria, it was a bit more predictable. Austria was all over the place, but even qualifying in Styria brought up some we didn't really expect that. That's from the AlphaTauris, mainly Pierre Gasly. He got in the top 3 at one point, quite close to thinking he actually could get 3rd place. Of course, McLaren's were there, racing points were there. And of course, Austria was just all over in the race. Styria was a bit more predictable. So my top 3, I'm going to start off by saying in 3rd place, I'm going to go for the Spanish driver, the man who might be regretting his Ferrari contract, Carlos Sainz. He got the fastest lap. He got 3rd place in qualifying. Great position in the drivers, and of course McLaren 2nd place are absolutely obliterating their start. Now they got a podium with Lando Norris as well in the first race, and of course even though the race wasn't as good for them, they still showed some good promising pace, and it was a bit of a shame that Carlos and even Lando didn't get on the podium in Styria. As I say, McLaren, definitely reborn and definitely have something to prove. And as I just said there, at the start, 11 wins for McLaren here and 7 from Lewis Hamilton, of course. Not all of them came from McLaren, but obviously at the start, he started at McLaren, a good few wins there. I think it's 3 wins for Lewis with McLaren, but 11 wins for the MCL team. It is good around here. Carlos Sainz will be on a charge to prove that McLaren aren't a fluke. That Renault power unit was good in Austria, but it's also good at other tracks. He is here, he is ready, he's worthy of that Ferrari contract. Whether he wants that, I don't know. Obviously, we all know how bad Ferrari were. I can guarantee now, Ferrari are not going to be in my predictions. Maybe a bit of a shame for them, but McLaren are the team to get, really, and I'm very, very impressed with what they've been able to do. I'm expecting a good finish from Lando as well, but Carlos will get onto the podium. I'm even maybe predicting a top 3 finish in qualifying for the Chile as well. And yeah, I'll be really impressed, and of course, hopefully if he gets 3rd place, it will be a podium that, even though he deserved it in Brazil, he will get officially, because obviously no penalties will be given to obviously promote him like he did in Brazil. So there we go, 3rd place is Carlos Sainz. In 2nd place, I'm going to go for Alex Albon. Controversy, maybe. There's a lot of that coming out of Styria, but to be honest, he's done a very good job. The first round in Austria, it was a good finish. It was a good from him, of course, going around the outside of Lewis Hamilton, challenging the 6-time world champion, showing that he is a good enough driver. Not just good, but really a challenger to Max Verstappen. And of course, he was the topic of what we talked about in Agree or Disagree. He definitely has that pace. Red Bull is strong around here because of that unibody chassis that they kind of have. They do 100% definitely have. They do well around Austria, but of course Austria wasn't really a proven ground for them. I think it is their time to shine. Max, he will do well, but Alex, I think he has got it. The reason I think he's got it is just because of all this talk now. All this Albon confusion and all that. He's 40 seconds off the pace and he wasn't as strong and things like that. And Max needs someone better. Well, it's only been 2 races. Calm your horses or whatever they say. I do think Alex will have something to prove. He is a very strong driver, and I think you need a finish like this. And I'm also going to go out on a limb. This is my prediction, but I'm going to say it. I reckon he's going to get pole position and 2nd place, but the pole isn't my prediction. I'm just saying that could happen. 2nd place for the Thai British driver. And in 1st place, I'm going to say the Canadian driver of Nicholas Latifi. No, I'm not really. That joke is old. I can't keep doing that all the time. Of course, it is the Brit. I've said, of course. It might be, of course. You might be thinking that. Half of you might be, half of you might not be. It is the British driver, the reigning world champion of Lewis Hamilton. As I say, he is a god around this track. He loves it. Even when it rains, of course, we all look at people like Max Verstappen and think, they are the rain god. Lewis loves this track in the dry, in the wet, in the steaming hot, in the thunderstorms, whatever the conditions are like. He just loves this circuit. I don't know what it is, but I think it's more about him than the Mercedes power. He loves this circuit. And of course, as I've just said there, Mercedes are a strong they are a strong team around here. Last year, they had the power basically to dominate the race. Of course, as I said there at the start, Max Verstappen had pole position and was leading the race. Mercedes caught him towards the end. I know Max was, of course, losing power in that Honda power unit with Red Bull, but still, Mercedes were incredibly strong. So I think that he is definitely going to win the race, make it 8 for him. And of course, we know that he loves to win at tracks that he already has won. When he won in Canada last year, of course, after even though Sebastian Vettel possibly could have won outright, I'm not going to say anything, he of course added, I think it was 7 at that track as well. He loves those kind of records, and this is another record that he can just extend. Schumacher got 7 here, so of course he's already matched that. If he gets 8, he will be as I'm just going off now what on my mind, he will be the most successful around the Hungarian Grand Prix track, which of course is a record that he will absolutely love. Just to add to his, and obviously chasing 91, I think he's only 8 away now, 7 or 8 away. If he's chasing his 7 as well, of course he can do that this year. He will love that stat of becoming the most successful driver. 8 wins around the Hungaroring, of course a track that he's won with 2 teams before, McLaren and Mercedes, and he will love. Mercedes will be strong around here. I'm not going to say where Bottas is going to finish. I'm not going to say where Verstappen is going to finish. But I am going to say that the fastest lap is going to be that man of Max. Now, again, it might be just a little bit kind of naive not to put him in the podium positions, especially how strong he was last year. Obviously, getting pole, getting 2nd place, even that was pretty good from him. Of course, the speed, the qualifying speed and the race speed that he showed in Styria. But I do think that Alex wants it more, and there we go. That is my prediction. So obviously, Carlos Sainz in the McLaren in 3rd position, Alexander Albon in 2nd place in that Red Bull, and the winner will be Lewis Hamilton. I say Lewis definitely got something to prove here, definitely time to shine for them, and just basically taking off the season like Mercedes are running the show. Of course, Valtteri won the 1st race in Austria, 2nd race won by Lewis in Styria, and Lewis again this round, but it will definitely be a good one. Of course, they are my predictions. Let us know your predictions in the comment section below, and as Jordan mentioned there about the prediction league, obviously leave them in the comment section and we will take it from there. 1, 2, 3 and fastest lap, you'll be entered in there. And if you are already, obviously good luck. How are you doing? Tell us how you're doing. How are you liking it? How are you liking this prediction league? You could win. You could do well, but it is a bit of a gamble. And to be honest, I'm getting the vibe of in Austria, anything could happen. Anyone could finish anywhere. And this is a prediction, but one thing I'm going to say is I really want Williams to finish in the point. And that's either Russell or Latifi, but we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, that is the end of our preview. Thank you very much for watching. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you are new and this is the first time you've seen us on screen, please like and subscribe. If you have enjoyed what you've seen around here, hit that notification bell. You'll get notified every time you upload. Analytics show that around 50% of you guys that are watching are not subscribed to the F1 Debate Show. So if you want to do us a favour and you guys a favour as well, please subscribe. Us a favour, of course, it helps the channel grow. You guys a favour, it will keep you up to date with everything we have coming up on this channel. We do have a lot, even we get sometimes lost in the schedule, but if you are subscribed and if the bell's on, you'll get notified of what the video is, and all you have to do is click on it and watch it. It's that simple. So we hope that you can stay with us in this journey in 2020. We hope to see you there. As I say, thank you very much for watching. We've been the F1 Debate Shows. Take care of yourselves. We hope that you enjoy Hungary this weekend, and until next time, guys, we'll see you later.